He even admits he has killed people before, but says he doesn't do so anymore, for food. This is great too, for talking about the power of trust in a relationship. Can you believe in your mate so fully, and yet not be blind to their reality? It is a tricky area. Edward invites Bella to his family's all-glass home, which is deep in the lush woods. This is a place where they can truly be themselves. This is more of the same, earlier idea of revealing to another our truths. At the home, the family is cooking for Bella even though they don't eat the food she eats, and this shows great acceptance, kindness, and love. It also touches me as I realize how alike that is for human beings who go out of their way to prepare meals for people they care about, even when they might be meals they do not personally like. She learns he never sleeps, and Bella and Edward dance slowly to Claude Debussy's Clair de Lune, which translates into English as Moonlight, thus the title of the film. This is another great separator in teen films, because they are dancing beautifully to classical music, instead of bumping and grinding to some crudely lyrical, thumping, bass-heavy sounds. He enjoys watching her sleep, because she possesses something that he doesn't have, and he is fascinated by her humanness. She, in return, is fascinated by his lack of need for sleep, and everything else he can do that she cannot. In another unique scene, they finally kiss and their frenzy begins to build. But, he hurls himself off the bed and against the far wall, because the desire is too strong, and he is afraid he might hurt her. He cannot pursue his passion for her. Now, that is very touching and highly empathic. How many of us check our own desires and make sure we are not selfishly using another for our personal gain? Eventually, he makes his way to the bed again and they talk, share, and communicate with each other from the heart. Thus, we see that making love can happen in a variety of ways. And what a wonderful lesson this is to observe. A funny, phallic symbol moment of the film is when Bella tells her father she is going out with Edward and that he wants to meet him. Her father does not relish the idea of meeting Edward, as most fathers have a tough time letting go of their daughters, and so he does this funny thing. He is cleaning his gun, which is cocked downwards, and then he cocks the gun up and it is ramrod straight. This is an obvious metaphor and it made me laugh. It's penis swinging time. Time for her father to show who is the boss. Now, I am not a huge baseball fan, but I am aware of the term, thunder in his bat. Now, that means a man can hit a baseball so hard it sounds like booming thunder. This is another light-hearted moment in the film as Edward and his family takes Bella to play baseball during a thunderstorm, because the thunder masks the sounds of how hard these vampires can hit the balls that they also throw at amazing speeds. In every baseball film I have ever seen of kids on a sandlot diamond somewhere, there is always a challenge issued by neighboring kids. Twilight is no exception, as other bad vampires walk onto the field and ask to play. But, at this junction the challengers, we learn, are human eaters and they recognize that Bella is a human being. A standoff is then had, and the Cullens quickly take Bella away to avoid her being killed. One of the vampires that is after her now is a tracker by talent, and we learn he will not stop until he has killed Bella. So, Edward tells her she must leave Forks and go far away with him for her protection. But, in order to do this, she must convince her father to let her go. This is an important part of the psychology of the film, for all daughters must psychologically break up with their fathers in order to bond with their new husband or significant other. This is part of the Oedipus/Elector complex that Freud and Jung developed and coined. Bella protects her father by being tough, cruel to be kind, so that he will definitely let her go and he won't be in danger because of her. If she hadn't been tough on him, he wouldn't have let her go and the vampire probably would have killed Bella and her father that night. She is now sacrificing for him, and the matriarchal role she is assuming in her maturity matches the influence and power of the patriarch. On their way out of town, Edward and Bella pass by the diner where some of her friends are exiting nonchalantly, and in Bella's eyes we see that she knows she has grown beyond them. Her life has taken a much more adult turn. But, is it truly better, worse, or is it just her unique path? They head back to Phoenix, Arizona, where the tracker vampire finds her and talks to her by phone, whilst Edward remains unawares. He tells her that he has captured her mother and she must come to her old dance studio, alone, in order to save her. In Changing Woman, mentioned earlier, this is the function of the two boys in that myth as well. They leave to head north to find their father, so they may return back to their homeland stronger and wiser with new weapons and skills acquired along the way to rescue their mother from the monsters troubling their neighborhood. In the end of that myth, the mother retires to the west, where the sun sets, and remember the sun is the boy's father, and so she lives forever in union and in protection with the sun. In Twilight, the same thing occurs. Bella must return to her homeland, stronger and wiser, and then she must help fight the monsters that are troubling her mother. A huge showdown occurs at the dance studio, in a hall of mirrors, meaning that enemies are everywhere, and you cannot face the monster without first facing yourself. Why? Because the monster is you. Edward and his family arrive to help Bella, but this is not a weakness on Bella's part. No, it is strength on her part because she made the necessary connections in the world to put up this fight. Bella's last name of Swan, by the way, was known as an ancient war cry in history. It is in this final fight sequence that we learn what the film's opening statement was cinematically about, that dying for someone she loves means being willing to die for her mother. She has now become the protector of both her parents, and thus, Bella has become a woman. But, it isn't just about being willing to die for her mother, rather, it is about finding something worth dying for. Bella gets injured in the attack and she is bitten and slowly begins to turn into a vampire. To stop this changing, Edward must suck the venom out of her blood without losing control from the frenzy of smelling her blood, which he craves. He manages to do so, barely, and in this selfless act we see how much he really does love her. The end has this to say: death is peaceful, easy, life is harder. This goes along with the former idea that life only survives by killing, and can be a very tough, strange world to make one's way in. The last scene takes place at the school prom, back in Forks, where she wants to live. In other words, she wishes to reside mentally in a place where crossroads and adaptability are symbolically present, where Bella has made up with her father, and is happily in love with Edward. Her leg is casted from the recent fight, but she is obviously happy. We all gain wounds from fighting for the right to individuate from, while simultaneously saving, our family dynamic and ethic, and Twilight illustrates that very well.